Let's see. Jarek, I knew he was going to have a brother. Because I have this thing for brothers, and I have this thing for twins.
She does a lot.
I try to watch any movie that has to do with twins. I try to watch anything that has to do with brothers. Because I'm all for that brotherly love. And I'm not just talking about incest, but that counts. But I was like, he's going to have a brother.
She's an extreme yaoi fangirl.
Oh, yeah. And I was like, okay, this guy needs a brother. He needs an older brother. This is probably why he's emo. I don't know why he's emo, but he's emo and he hates the E-punks because they keep bothering him. So I'm like, there's got to be a reason for him to do this. And his room is kind of set up like a technological heyday. And he lives in a headboard. You know, one of those thick bed headboards when we go down to Wolf County and we're kind of stuck there. And so he has all these booby traps and everything everywhere, and I'm like, he's got to know how he did this. And I'm like, we're too far away from the emptiness for him to have just, waltzed his way here. So I was like, okay, he has to have a reason for being so emo. His brother. He has a brother who is a little bit taller, looks almost exactly like him, a hell of a lot more dirt. That would be Bedden. Hannah loves Bedden so much.
God, he's so cute. I can't help it. He's a little pudgy, fluffy bunny.
Yeah, and he's
so retarded.
He's made of the same velvet, and with Bedden...
Oh, he's chocolate brown.
Yeah. He's chocolate brown, and you're like so happy.
I am.
So happy about
I still want a Bedden hat.
Yeah, she does. But anyway, he was kind of supposed to be, the older brother and whatever. And then this whole plan just started rolling out. I didn't plan anything. I didn't have ref sheets. I didn't type out a story. I didn't do any of that shit. I just went with it.
Bitch made me cry.
Apparently, I don't know. Maybe it's because I write. I don't know. I apparently learn by osmosis because I don't do shit, and yet when I decide to do the shit, it comes out amazing according to people. I don't know. But I had this entire story where the crew had gotten killed in the events when
you're going to tell all their backstory?
I'm not going to tell all their backstory. I'm just going to say they got killed.
Okay.
And as a result, only two were left. Jarek and Bedden. Those two got separated. A.K.A. Jarek's on his own and he's emo and blah, blah, blah. Well, that was just for them. I had not planned to have a crew for these guys. It was just supposed to be Jarek. And then it came Bedden.
One of the cool things about this, too, is in relation to how our characters, develop, is you got to understand, Brad's into aviation. And, pretty much, I'm not going to say too much into it, but
fanboyed.
He fanboys a lot, because Jarek knows a lot about aviation. So he's just he kind of derped around and followed Jarek all over the place.
Jarek is not afraid to rip your arm off.
And Jarek is not somebody that you want to follow. Jarek really does not like people, and Brad was an insistent little motherfucker. It was so funny. He was
kind of like one of the really early villainy types, I guess, because he did not want anything to do. He would be willing to kill you if it became necessary.
He didn't want anything to do with anybody.
Exactly.
I mean, even Twain, he turned away.
Oh, yeah.
Twain's usually
and Tolstoy and all that.
Twain's usually the diplomat.
Yeah, and Jarek wouldn't have any of it. And come to find out later, apparently, later, the twins just kind of mercifully plugged themselves into a computer, or they typed up something, or they jacked into something, and then boom, we find out Jarek's entire history that I never knew existed. But apparently there were 6 in this crew, rather than just Jarek, or rather just Jarek and Bedden. And then suddenly I knew where everything fit. I didn't look anything up, I didn't do anything, and then come to find out later, Jarek is apparently a real name. Because we've heard people at work call their kids this when, customers on the phone. So Jarek is apparently a real name. And Bedden was a real name. I never knew Bedden was a real name. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, if I'm going to have 6 of these guys, I need to find names. I'm not going to go with the numbers, and I don't have, a theme of authors to go by either. So I decided to go to the best place I know where to go, which is the Air Force websites. And I was like, okay, I'm going to grab this name, this name, this name, this name. Didn't take any time to plan, just grabbed the names and left. And suddenly here comes Vic, Crawford, Dabney, and Ward. Vic and Crawford. Where do I even begin with these two? These two were supposed to be the twins. I had no idea why they didn't look like twins. I have no idea why they didn't have the same colors as twins. I have no idea. They look nothing like twins. And I was like, technically, all the Stitch Punks made in the same day are technically twins. But these two were kind of the brotherly twins thing. And Crawford was originally the same height as Vic, which was 7.5.
And it was really funny because I had already drawn a picture of them, and she was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm changing Crawford's height."
Yeah, I wanted him to be shorter because he had such an attitude on him. I was like, he can't be this tall.
I love him being shorter.
So we dropped him down to literally 6.5, an entire inch, and then we just kind of kept it there. What are you doing?
I have a spot on my leg. I'm sorry. I'm scratching a spot on my leg. Is that okay with you? Can I continue? Carry on.
So anyway, we had this whole thing where he needs to be shorter. And Vic and Crawford, I already knew, they're troublemakers. These guys you kind of don't want on the table because something is going to go wrong. So what happens? Well, he meets Crawford and Vic come around, and Lewis meets him. What's the first thing Crawford does? Shocks the hell out of him. With that fancy little, let's shuffle your feet across the floor and then just tap somebody. And so they tied him up, and it was kind of amazing.
Essentially packed him right the hell off.
Oh, yeah. And it was like really, really guys. They're such troublemakers. These are the guys that you could put Benny Hill music to in any scene you see them in.
Pretty much.
It would fit. It would fit.
I don't know, I can think of a couple scenes you wouldn't want Benny Hill music to.
I should probably tell you RagNBone is kind of R-rated in the Stitch Punk realm.
I mean, we don't know how much we're going to be putting into the thing, but anyway, there's some funny, stuff that goes on.
Anyway, these guys were the troublemakers. So we got the emo kid and his older brother, and then we got the troublemakers. And then I was like, okay, these guys are kind of brothers. And then I had Dabney and Ward, and I don't know where they came from. I think at that point in time, I was like looking up because I wanted them to have, sort of a hierarchy where they were ranked in terms of RAF, Royal Air Force ranking. And I was like, okay, so let's do this, this, and this. And I guess I was looking at the flags, and I'm like, hi, Dabney. And I'm a cheerleader. That is terrible.
She does, though. She looks like such a cheerleader for the RAF.
She's not so ditzy.
No, she's not a Valley girl.
She, oh my God, no.
She's amazing.
Thankfully, we don't have those type. Well,
she's amazing, and this is why Wagner loves her.
Yeah, and I mean, Wagner. Dabney and Ward were just kind of added to it at first. I didn't really have anything I wanted to do with them because a lot of times we'll make an entire group of characters and we won't know where to put them exactly. And as we're role-playing, you'll see some of the characters fading away dramatically, whereas others come into the limelight. And then later on, we just hit this one point where it's like, okay, let's bring in these other guys.
Okay, yeah, it's funny too because like she really did not know what to do with Dabney, and like a lot of our characterization comes through roleplay, and so here we are with Dabney and Ward, and she doesn't know really what to do with them, so they're just kind of in the background derping around, not socializing whatsoever, and I even tried to get to talking to them, etc., 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 having other characters talk to them, and she just couldn't decide what she wanted for them, and so they were just kind of quiet. They would talk a little bit, very polite, but just kind of be aloof.
Now it's like they won't go away.
Then, like, slowly but surely, they started to sort of branch out, and she found things for them to be into, and hobbies and stuff, and they developed from there, but yeah.
But, I mean, it was kind of just 2 by 2 by 2, and together they just made 6. And I can't really go into what their entire backstory is, because that would give away too much, and we don't want to, kill you guys just yet, or leave you thinking, how the hell are you doing this at all? How's this working? Because a lot of our concepts kind of go way out of the realm, but they're still in it.
Yeah,
it's really odd.
We promise that while
it works,
it's one of those things where when you first hear it, like when she first introduced Eaton's crew and told me their backstory, I was like, what?
Yeah, how does it work?
because when you first hear it, you're going, I don't know how you're going to make this fit into this world. I don't know how you're going to... This just sounds really fucking dumb.
Out there.
Then...
It fits.
After you start going into the backstory, and after you start going into the history, and after you start putting the amount of research we put into it, it's like, whoa, wait a minute, I can make this work. And it's kind of awesome, because everything just kind of falls together in a really nice way.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. So that was, that's mostly the Ian's crew. I really can't give away too much of it, because then you guys, oh God, we'll never end the questions there. And then we'll give all the RagNBone away, and we don't want to do that. So next up is the Franz Punks, and the Franz Punks came at a time when we were actually we were in the role play. We do have issues where we just stop, and it could be for a variety of reasons. She's at work, or And it just kind of got to that point where we wanted to role play, but we were doing more talking than role playing.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't happen often.
Oh, no, it definitely doesn't happen often. But she was just, kind of derping stuff up because we had kind of gotten to a point where, and we'll discuss this in a later question, but we had kind of gotten to the point where it's like, all right, we've done these guys. We kind of branched out where we could. Where do we go from here, even if we did want something to happen? And then, lo and behold, Cloud just comes over and just drops a shit ton of ideas on us, and then we're all like, oh, hi! How are you doing?
And so basically the Franz punks are mine, and the concepts of the Franz punks, I knew I wanted... I didn't want a group at all.
We wanted to stop after Eaton's crew and Eve's crew. We really did not want to.
We didn't want to overburden the cast with characters, and even though we have as many as we do, I really don't think we've done so.
We really
because
haven't.
The characters all work in a way that's just bizarre.
Yeah.
But basically, the Franz punks came about because I was drawing animal punks, and I came across this one. I was derping up this one, and it came out looking like a guy with a turtle shell on his back, and I was like, this looks really retarded, so I erased it, and I started up another one. And I knew I wanted this kind of hunched thing like they have in the actual movie, where if you notice, 5 and 9 are both kind of hunched over. I wanted that, but I wanted them also to be kind of tubby, and kind of just cute and cuddly.
Now that you are done.
So,
Gessa will be happy.
I started putting together this little guy. I just kind of derped him up, and originally I was like, he could be an accountant, because I stuck these little arm fit bands onto my head.
We got another question. That's amazing.
Oh my god!
I'll add that. Keep talking.
Okay. Basically,
thank you, Stitch Girl.
Basically, he had a little vest, and he had a little headband, and he had little armbands. Now, the thing is, I got inspired. We inspire each other a lot, back and forth. Our back and forth and our RP really inspire each other. So, where she introduced the Eaton's crew that had sort of, I guess you could say a profession or a concept of a profession that they were grounded in, I was like, I want to do that. I think it would be really cool to have a crew that actually did a profession, that actually had a skill that they used to help a human. So, after I had drawn Klaus, I was like, crap, I'm going to make a whole nother set. So I sat down, I drew up all of the Franz punks in one night. And, except for 2. And I'll explain that in a minute, but I'm not going to tell you anything else about them because those 2 are not introduced until very far later in the comic. But, the Franz punks, I sat down in one night and I designed 7. 7 of them together. And Klaus came first, like I said, the little derpy pudgy dude with his vest and his little headband and stuff. And then I drew his sister, Liesel, because I had this whole concept of them being, family related. They had family ties just like the Eve punks did. Only the Eve punks didn't call each other by family names. These guys did. So, Liesel, his sister, I drew her up with a little vest, and her design screwed with me so much. It wasn't until Desi this past Christmas did a commission for Rattles of my Franz punks together that I even knew, I knew I wanted her to have some kind of headgear or something to make her look a little more feminine, and that's when Rattles suggested a bandana, and so she ended up with a bandana, and it fits perfectly, it works perfect. But I knew I wanted some of them to match, and so you have Klaus and Liesel, who both have their little vests and their basically their vests and this whole little style with the way that they're set up. I drew Wagner, and Wagner was actually a lot skinnier than he is now. He's got sort of the same pot belly. The whole family kind of has pot bellies, and it's because of the fact that where they have a profession and a trade, they actually have pockets on their interior lining to store things, unlike most chunks where they just toss things in and they rattle around. Because I wanted them to be a little bit more organized, because their creator was organized. So, Wagner, I wanted the design with just something simple. I knew I wanted hats. For some reason, this whole crew, I wanted them to have headgear. So, Wagner ended up with...
You don't have the license for that!
You do not have the license to wear a hat. No,
I don't know how to wear a hat. Sorry, inside joke. Final Fantasy.
But Wagner ended up with a cabbie hat because I love cabbie hats. I love hats.
Wait,
I love hats so much. You guys don't understand. We have a hat collection.
Oh, we do. We have like over, I think, 27 hats now.
Yeah.